Alright, hey everyone, my name is Sammy, and welcome to the next part in my stream theory playthrough of Dark Souls, where I will provide commentary and analysis on the game as I play it live for you guys. So, we are now in a completely new area. Last part we ended on a really awesome boss battle. One of my favorites in the game was the Sanctuary Guardian, which was a sort of a hybrid creature, kind of a head of a lion with, let's see, it had like a scorpion's tail and like an eagle's body. I think at one point I knew the name of the creature, but in any case, the boss battles, starting with that one and everyone in this general area of Ulasil, it's going to be pretty darn awesome. So, talk a little bit more about what this area is. Let's start off by talking with this mushroom character.
Well, look at this one. From what faraway age hast thou come? Thy scent is very human indeed, but not intolerable. Ah, Princess Dusk's savior. Thine aura is precisely as she described. I thank thee deeply for rescuing Her Highness, but Princess Dusk is here no longer, snatched away by that horrifying primeval human. And so I must ask, couldst thou once more play the savior?
Sure thing.
I am Elizabeth, guardian of this sanctuary, something of a godmother to Princess Dusk. I shall assist thee to my utmost, for I am one with the sorceries of Ulasil.
Ooh, nice gold pine resin. I've been actually looking for a vendor that would sell that stuff. I might buy some of that. Okay, we have some spells. Don't really need that. More or less all set with our character build. We have our armor upgraded all the way. Weapon upgraded all the way. I think we're pretty much finalized as far as that, so definitely not going to just make a U-turn all of a sudden and start doing spells. So I think the only thing I'd buy is the gold pine resin, except I have enough to level up, or I have just enough to level up.
May the flames guide thee.
And I'll do that right now, and I will, level up really quickly. Here we go. Let's just bring endurance up to 30 before we upgrade other stats. Might just do more vitality at this point. Dexterity up to 40. Just have a ton of leveling. And I think that's one of the things I want to talk about as well to move forward. Let's see if she has anything more to say in the meantime.
Struggling, are we? If there's anything I can do, never hesitate to ask. Thou shalt see further on, an abyss was begat of the ancient beast, and threatens to swallow the whole of Ulasil. Knight Artorius came to stop this, but such a hero has nary a murmur of dark. Without doubt he will be swallowed by the abyss, overcome by its utter blackness. Indeed, the abyss may be unstoppable. Still, I have faith that Princess Dusk may be rescued yet. Thou shalt see further, and at night...
Okay, so basically what this Elizabeth mushroom has said is that we have somehow come to a different land in a different time than the one we came from. So we have journeyed across time, essentially, through that portal that we came from originally. Because of the way we interacted with Princess Dusk, we saved her in our time. I think she was cast out there and trapped. We saved her, and because of that, and because of some various other troops that I discussed in the last part, a portal opened that allow us to come back here in time so that we might save her again. Yeah, she's once again in distress. I mean, that's just yet another part of the story of this game, but, you know, tropes aside, this area is one of my favorite parts of the game, even if it's not even if it's not really part of the main game proper. It isn't. It was additional content that was released after the game was released, at least on console. And so if you have it on console, you can buy this content, you can buy this pack, this Lucille area, and then add it to your game. But if you have it on PC, it does come with the game. This PC version, I think, came a year after the console release, so it had pretty much wrapped up everything bundled together. We are in a new area now, so we're seeing these entirely new enemies. But even so, we're still fairly powerful now. I think one of the reasons I can figure that this portion of the game, this portion of the world, Lucille, we're in, is placed behind so many different hoops that we had to get to in order to get here was because the difficulty of this world, the enemies here, is largely balanced around a late game character. So, a character that's leveled up fairly high, like we are now. And you can see a little bit of that here. But mostly we could see that from the Sanctuary Guardian boss at the beginning of this portion of the game. Portion of the area. That was kind of like a test, if you will, to see if you can actually, if you're strong enough to actually encounter the area. If you can beat that Sanctuary Guardian, then you should be strong enough to handle that. If you can't beat him, if you're just kicking your ass, you might want to actually come back to this later. So, because we did manage to beat it, I think with a little bit of practice, we can take on the enemies in this area. But in the meantime, we will just explore, get the feel of the area. I mean, I've already played Dark Souls. I've played Dark Souls before, including this Lucille portion of the game. So I already know what to expect, but of course I don't necessarily remember everything, so still absorb some of this area once more before we really get into the meat of what we can talk about. So one thing I wanted to address is that difficulty right up front, because you know, pursuing the Lord Soul bosses, a lot of them, besides the puzzle bot, the Witch of Isolate, the first one, the difficulty in the Witch of Isolate doesn't really matter because, or rather, the level that you're facing her doesn't matter because of how it's a puzzle. You could fight her low-level character or high-level character, and it wouldn't make a difference because it's just a matter of figuring out the puzzle. But the other bosses, the Gravelord boss we fought before this, as well as the it's blanking on me. What was the other one that I did? Oh yeah, the Four Kings. No, the Four Kings was the one we just did. Or the Gravelord previous to that one. Both of them I felt were fairly easy, and I think that's because of how prepared I've been, how proficient in my character build I've been leading up to these later portions of the game. And I feel like I have been a little bit too strong for many of the enemies in those areas, in New Londo and in the catacombs. I've just been wiping the floor with them. Because I've been largely prudent about upgrading my character, my weapon, and my armor. And also helps that I know where a lot of the prerequisite items are in order to fully upgrade my character. Because of my foreknowledge. Now, the game, you know, letting it be easy for me because I already know that stuff isn't necessarily a bad thing right away. Because you want the game to reward preparedness and reward a well-built character. That's really cool to do. On the other hand, I feel like a lot of the enemies in the game are, especially in the later portions, are balanced more for someone who, you know, isn't already aware of a lot of stuff in the game. Those prerequisite items and whatnot, the necessary things needed to level up your character appropriately. Like, it's balanced for fresh builds, people maybe making less efficient ones, or maybe they haven't discovered like that very large ember yet. And you know, that sort of balancing technique makes a lot of sense because largely people playing the game for the first time will not know that information. So, like, you don't want to balance the game for someone who knows everything about it, or someone who knows enough to make a super efficient build, because then you'd only be targeting the people making the most effective builds, and everything below that will face a lot of difficulty. They'd have to basically grind out until their level is much higher than mine. Let's see. When I was facing those bosses, I was around like 68 to 70, and that seems low to me from when I originally fought those areas. I was probably a little bit lower than that, maybe 65. Well, no. No, the level I was right now, 68 to 70. That's low. So I was probably a little higher than 70 when I was first time through the game. I was about 70 to 75 facing those. However, the way I appropriated my points into my stats wasn't necessarily efficient. I wasn't min-maxing properly. I wasn't like min-maxing means placing the points into only the stats that you need, and only a handful of stats that you need. You know, hone in on those key stats that you want for your specific build, and then like pretty much ignore the rest of them. That way you get a super focused character. So the way the game would be balanced for first timers is, well, you have to assume that a first time player will not be efficiently leveling up their character, and so some of those points would have been scattered around into maybe less necessary stats that they would need for their builds. So, in the case for my playthrough here that I'm presenting live here now, it does seem like it's a little too easy just because of my efficiency in the build. And, well, it does seem like it, you know, makes it really easy for me when I'm playing, or at least for those specific bosses. The game does have an answer for people who, you know, already played the game, and that's like a New Game Plus and subsequent New Game Pluses that make all the characters, or make all the enemies much harder with more difficult stats to overcome. So in theory, like, I should be playing those New Game Pluses just because I've, you know, already played the game multiple times. I already know enough about the game to make a super efficient build. And if I want to continue having a proper challenge, I should explore those new game pluses. However, for the purposes of this stream, I did want to show what a normal game would look like. On the other hand, another argument I could make against necessarily requiring a new game plus for veteran players of the series is that the challenge and some of the best enemies in the game doesn't come from their stats. It comes from the way you have to approach them and fight them. Like their design in general, the way they fight, the way they react to what the player would normally attack them with. Essentially, their animations and their AI, like that. If that was superior, then those enemies would still be interesting to fight regardless of your level. Or at least the level range would be much higher. Like you could fight them at say level 60 to level 80, and it would still be fairly interesting before you get to like a point where your level is just so high that you can brute force them with one hit, and their interesting animations and whatnot become irrelevant. So I think like the reason why a lot of the best enemies in this game remain the best enemies in subsequent playthroughs is because of the way their animations work. So like these stone giants here, they're giving me a fair bit of trouble because of the way I have to try and deal with them. Because of their animations and not necessarily because of their stats. I mean, they're definitely they're giants, so they're gonna have a lot of health to try and fight through. At the same time, like there are a lot of animation. Their interesting attacks I have to work around much more than say a regular minion, lower end minion. So this guy has like really sweeping attacks, larger attacks, make it so that I have to dodge much more effectively. And if I don't dodge timing right, he can easily clip me and do a lot of damage, knock me back, because he's a big dude and he's fairly quick. And his animations change depending on whether you react to them properly. Like, I don't know if you saw back there, this giant had a move where he slammed his hammer down into the ground, and if you stayed near that, he would then pull it back up into a large area of effect attack. But if you manage to move around, get away from that in time, then he won't even do that attack, because there's no point in him doing that attack. It just wastes his animation. So me interacting with that giant enemy is the interesting thing, and it's not really it's not so much an interaction with our stats. And that's why I think a lot of those enemies are the best, and a lot of some of the boss battles in this game are interesting. It's the way they attack you, the way you have to interact with them, and not necessarily how big their health bar is and how hard they hit you. Like if you look back at the Sanctuary Guardian boss battle, I think that one was way better than the Four Kings boss battle that I did earlier on in that same part. Because of his moveset, because of the Guardian's moveset, it's far more interesting, and I have to react to it much quicker, and I have to keep into account a lot more different moves, the way he flies up, the way he can charge up electric attacks, charge up different moves depending on where you are relative to him, whereas, the Four Kings was more or less a battle of stats with some, interesting sweeping maneuvers, I guess, but it's largely like they have a health bar, and if you don't whittle away their health bar fast enough, then another king will come in, and then they'll try to gang up on you, and that's basically the crux of that battle, the Four Kings. So comparing those two you can see why I would think the Sanctuary Guardian is much better, because it is mostly about interacting with his fighting style rather than your sort of gang up of stats. That's why I think this area is going to be much more interesting, even with my sort of efficiently leveled character. Just because I think the enemies in this area, the bosses especially, are much more interesting to fight in that regard. Like even these grunts here, these minions, like you could see that there's a lot more attention given to their animations, like the way the guy makes a lunge and then if he misses you, he does a stumble. He stumbles on the ground. You don't really see that in, say, the grunts in earlier portions of this game. It's just those little details that make all the difference. So, see, there are a few ways I could go here. Actually, I think this just curves around back this way. Yeah, it's just the same location. Alright, there's one dude up there. Might want to try and deal with him now. I don't think I can. Maybe he'll only come down once I actually get down that way. Alright, here he comes. See, oh, they're trying to... This was an ambush type of deal. Probably should have seen that coming. Now I need to heal up really quickly. Yeah, see his lunging maneuver there. I dodged incorrectly and I was punished for that. I dodged, linear to that. Where I should have dodged to the left or the right. Alright, so I was getting low on flash there, so I think it's okay that I die, that way I can get more. I already explored that general area, so I think if I head straight to the left after coming out here to that forest, then save me some time and get straight to that battle once again. So this area at Lucille, as we learned from Elizabeth the Mushroom, is an area that is across time from where we were. I'm not sure at this point if we know if it is like in the past or in the future relative to our time. Ooh, okay, boom. Another thing about this area is it definitely punishes you for rushing in, because you can aggro a ton of enemies this way. I think I prefer it that way. I prefer a game that punishes you for rushing in headlong. You should be much more careful, methodical in your approach to areas. So I did get a little bit punished there for that reason. Now let's not get punished again by heading too far into this forest, or that little outcropping there. So on Lucille, we don't know if... I'm not sure if we know at this point whether it is in the past or the future. We do know it's related to Princess Dusk still. Maybe I should have waited. Maybe I should have waited to deal with her character in relation to the stream here, my playthrough of the game, because I saved her in the normal time of the game, the grander world of the game, much earlier in my playthrough, so I might have forgotten about that character entirely at this point. Okay, so I'm gonna try going a little bit slower this time, maybe deal with them one at a time, so let's try and whittle them down. Now you can... There is a lot of them rushing here, so yeah, you do have to approach them pretty darn fast. In any case, I think we'll learn more as we, progress further. We already learned a lot from Elizabeth. She gave us, I guess, a general direction to go. Try to save Dusk. As far as where the location is relative to where we came from, I'm not sure if we know that, but it does seem familiar, doesn't it? Like it is another forest area. Ah, see, I was punished there. That was that move I was describing before. We planted his large weapon into the ground and then does this large area of attack move. If you don't get the heck out of there in time. So, like, the way it's designed is he plants it into the ground. You think that he's sort of stunned or is like recovering from the attack, but of course he then turns it into a much more devastating attack. So it's like taking advantage of that. He's punishing you for underestimating that move. So yeah, this area does look familiar. It looks a lot like another forest area that we saw in the main game proper. And the similarities are definitely not a coincidence, so we'll see how they relate to each other perhaps soon enough. I'm not sure if it tells you super directly in the game or whether you largely learn about it through items that you pick up. I don't think I need this transient curse anymore. So I'm already done with New Londo. So see, we picked up some of those guardian gauntlets, which were the stone giants that we were fighting. Also, if you or another correlation we can see is that the forest we were in before had sort of giant type of figures, and this forest also has giant type of figures. This might be I don't know, commentary on the game that all forests have these guardians, or it could be more direct correlation. So yeah, gauntlets of the Stone Knights, guardians of the Forest Sanctuary. The Stone Knights are golems animated by magic, and their enchanted gauntlets are oppressively heavy, and they're very similar to the stone armor that you can pick up as well. So I'm not sure if I should discuss it right now. Ooh, we got a nice look at a awesome looking dragon. Definitely a tease for a boss that might come out later on. Does he drop this stone giant? I guess that's what he did. He dropped this giant on the bridge to fight us. Being punished. Okay, that could have been devastating because dodged into a tree. That's never good. Okay, dealt with that. I love when games give you a little teaser like that. It's pretty awesome seeing a dragon suddenly swoop in. Let's see. Yeah, Dark Souls. In the very beginning, we saw that Drake flying through many different times. So this game Dark Souls does have a habit of giving you teasers like that to lead you on. Okay, that's pretty awesome to see right now, and also, we can get to that battle later as well. We can expect that as a battle to fight later on. Yeah, he flies this way, and you can see that there's we can see messages and items, so we know that we're going to end up going that way at some point. So whenever we actually get down there to that little watery area down there, that is probably where we're going to fight them. You can see that there down here is more of a path. So if we go around and we probably come through from that direction, that'll be the way to that boss. But that's a little further on. Won't be happening right now. I'm not sure if we're going to do a boss today. Today is going to be more about exploration and discussion of the game itself. Oh man, I missed it. Just barely. Alright, I did kill it. Okay, you do get the Titanite if you kill it. That's good. It's fine by me. Okay. Fortunately, that caused us to jump down a little prematurely. I wanted to see if there's maybe more stuff up there. Probably not. This is the right way to go in any case, so... I see more. Oh, this is a cool little weapon. So like, pruning scissors. And I do believe you see them, you can also see these enemies pruning the trees around them. These are like, keepers of this sanctuary. They tend to it. And I like how they use their tools to fight you. Okay, that does not look like a way to go unless I can jump over there. Before I just try to jump over there, I will explore a little bit over here. So yeah, this part, as I said, is going to be more exploratory and discussion about this portion of the game. Yeah, if I want to go back, I guess I can just go back this way. There's an enemy to fight there. Yeah, that's where I was before I dropped down. Where it looks like I can't go... Yeah, I can't go that way anyway. Like, I mean, I can't go over there just yet, to that side of the cliff. This looks like there might be another drop down. I'm not sure if I want to drop down there just yet. There's an item there, okay. Because there's more stuff to explore this way. But it seems okay. It seems like, from what I can tell, it seems like this whole area loops around. So if I drop down here, I can just come back by looping around. So I can go that way or this way. Doesn't matter. I guess I'll go this way. I wonder what these things are. Not entirely sure. Ah, oh, missed him. Could have easily punished me. Yeah, this is where I'm like queuing up dodges, and because I'm too slow, they're punishing me. Being too slow. Yeah, these guys are fairly quick, much quicker than grunts of earlier areas, so I have to be careful about that. Kill him in 2 hits, but gotta make sure I actually cue that attack in time and not too far away. Yeah, so between the Sanctuary Guardian and the enemies in this area, this is like the first time in a while that I'm feeling like I'm not totally destroying the enemies. Like, they are giving me a fairly good challenge, and that's as I said, due to their design and not necessarily their stats. Because as you can see, like, I am still destroying them in a couple hits because of the way they're able to fight me. That's where the challenge is. Ooh, that was a close one. So, bringing it back to standard procedure when approaching a new area is, find out where the next boss is, and then, like, look for a shortcut to that boss. Because this seemed like more of a roundabout way to approach the area. So, there will either be another bonfire to look for, or there will be more of a shortcut. So I think that's what we're looking for right now, is way to the next boss, but also, yeah, either a bonfire or a shortcut that'll help us out, approach the area more effectively. And I'm not following my own rules here. Okay, so, yeah, be wary of lying in ambush. I'm gonna give that guy +1. I've left a lot of messages recently, or I left a fair amount of messages, and I haven't really gotten any positive rating on those. I think that's largely because what I talked about before, how the game, with newer From Software games out there, there's going to be just less of an interest in people playing, and with that, there's going to be fewer people available to want to rate your messages and whatnot. Okay. So, looking for a shortcut or looking for another bonfire. It's mostly what I've learned. This is fairly late in the game, and almost every area, like, the game trains you to do that, to look for either a bonfire or a shortcut. Would be fairly unreasonable for the game to put a boss like super far from a bonfire, from the nearest bonfire. So there usually is a shortcut in between, either between that bonfire and the boss, if the way does seem long. Either that, or there will simply just be a closer bonfire, depending on how the level is built. So, there are dudes over here. Pitchfork guys, I want to dodge over to the side. Seems like the best way. They like doing these lunges. Didn't do it fast enough. See, I ended up dodging there after the hit. It's because I dodged too late. Okay, let's fight these dudes. Alright, yeah, I'll check out this area. There seems to be an item there, an item there. Another item there. Drop attack! Yes, okay. It's always good. Careful, there seems to be like these little cracks in the world. Yeah, I was on that side, thinking I might maybe jump over. But I just made it this way anyhow. Wonder what these things are. I'm sure I remember what these were. In any case, let's get these items. Oh, we got his little thing there. I love how long the draw distances of this game sometimes. Like you can see items from so far away, and it's like really sometimes you keep getting reminded how awe-inspiring, like just the size of the world, and it's like, okay, there's an item down there, so obviously I can actually head down there at some point, pick it up. And I'm just so far away from it. It's like, yeah, it's keep remembering how big this world is, or keep being reminded how big the world is. Well, this guy's like in a sort of search pattern animation. Okay, let's fight him. Like, largely we've seen enemies that are, you know, stationary. A lot of the giants that were in the other forest that we've been to in this game have been, well, they would just lie on the ground and then stand up when ready to fight them. I'm almost out of flasks already. Gotta find that shortcut. Oh, one thing, you know, this is actually reminding me that I think they're breaking my poise so too easily. I'm pretty sure I did not unequip my abyssal ring to actually cross the abyss. Let's see. It's not. Yep, I don't have my my wolf ring on to help my poise. I don't need this ring anymore because I'm not going to. Okay, so this should help. I should be able to take at least a hit or two from those enemies without them staggering me. That's, yeah. See, I'm being punished for seemingly a small oversight. My poise, using a ring to boost my poise because of my specific build. My armor doesn't yet give me any poise, so I need this ring. Because I actually forgot that one little detail, putting that ring back. These battles have been, well, there's one more element of challenge that maybe I did not need to have in there. Yeah, see, I think I actually took one more hit there. Okay, I think this is screwed up because I just aggroed pretty much everything in this portion of the forest. Never a good thing. Let's call this run a wash. Yeah, that's not good. I don't know how that jump attack missed because it's like basically right on top of it. But properly punished for aggroing just about every enemy in the vicinity. How about I just fight them one at a time? I don't have to aggro them all. So that's alright. Probably lost a fair amount of souls there, but that's okay. I think I need like over 30,000 at this point to level up one time. I don't think I had that much. At most I had like nearly enough to level up one time. Why does the attack send him so far away? I want to like dodge behind him and then maybe do this. Well, I guess that's his advantage of using one of those long weapons, is that he can keep his distance. Yeah, so I'm a little bit better. Yeah, he's not totally stunning me with one hit like he was before. I think it takes him about 2 hits now. Should make a big difference when approaching these guys. Let me just try to like fall for this trap and see how well I deal with it. Just gotta be super quick about it. Okay. Maybe back up a little bit more next time. Ooh. Dodged in the wrong direction there for sure. Yeah, he was already pivoting to the right, so I should have dodged over to the left. Good place for a Twinkling Titanite, it seems. It would have helped me out a little bit earlier. Maybe I should have... I mean, I could have done this area much earlier. Probably would have saved money on Twinkling Titanite. Oh, so there's an item over there. I think that's what I think that's where I was heading. Towards that item directly above me. Before I was destroyed. Again, exploring, I think I want to make my way back over there. Pretty much finish sweeping by that area. Getting any items before moving on to the inevitable boss battle. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure I can make it looking at the time now. I think I at least want to open the shortcut in this segment so that I can do much quicker runs to that boss battle, like first thing in the next part. I like their little scissor animations there. Fits the fits their little tools perfectly. Probably should have picked this one up. Elizabeth Mushroom. So I'm pretty sure this comes from the same Elizabeth character we saw earlier on. The mushroom. Heck is it? Large medicinal mushroom of Elizabeth, keeper of the sanctuary. Eating this mushroom invigorates the flesh and greatly restores HP.